Welcome to Dr. S Kenya, and in today's video I'm gonna take you through something that is quite common amongst most ladies, and this has to do with a discharge that is usually accompanied with something very unique, a bad smell. Whenever you find yourself having a bad smell, in addition to a discharge that can either be white, gray, yellow, but a bad smell, that usually points to something to do with the bacterial infection. One thing you have to note is that bacterial infections will usually produce very bad smells as compared to yeast infections, which will in most cases won't produce a bad smell. And if there is any smell, the smell usually appears to be a bread type of smell or a yeast type of smell, which is quite common. There is a likelihood that you either, number one, have introduced bacteria into your vagina that is not supposed to be there, or number two, there has been an issue with your hormones that has affected the population of certain bacteria in your vagina, or number three, you are using food and this food might either contain antibiotics, or you are using medication, probably antibiotics, that are killing the normal bacteria in your vagina and giving room for other dangerous bacteria to grow in your vagina. So these are usually the three scenarios that usually bring about this. And if you're having this problem right now, there is a likelihood that your infection is as a result of either of these three things. Now, it can be two things combined, or either of these. When it comes to antibiotics, and this is something that most people don't usually realize, and I think it isn't really taught very much in the education curriculum, antibiotics usually kill bacteria, and this is something good, they kill bacteria. And some antibiotics are antibiotics we usually classify as broad spectrum antibiotics. Now, these are drugs that will kill all sorts of bacteria, including the good ones. Your vagina, as I've said, has good bacteria that stay in the vagina, and these good bacteria usually help in a certain way. They feed from the lactogen and substrates in your vagina, and as a result, they produce chemicals that are very toxic to bad bacteria. So the bad bacteria can't grow in your vagina. Now, if you're using antibiotics, let's say broad spectrum antibiotics, these antibiotics will kill these good bacteria, and what happens is that you create room for other bad bacteria to grow in your vagina, and this in most cases will result to these problems of discharge with a bad smell. Now, this is quite common for some people. If you're having this problem, there's a likelihood you have your problem has originated from here. Now, when it comes to things to do with hormones, most ladies, when they are using family planning methods, mostly hormonal methods, and as well most ladies, some ladies will have issues with the levels of certain hormones in their body. Mostly it's progesterone and estrogen. Now, for some ladies, these hormones tend to be very high, and this can stimulate overproduction of certain components in your vagina. Now, these components like lactogen are what some of these bacteria feed on. So when these components are very huge in high quantities in your vagina, these bacteria tend to multiply very rapidly, and due to that, the population is blooming. So they start causing this type of situation in which you end up with a bad smell, discharge, etc. In addition to that, I talked about introducing bacteria into your vagina. Now, this can be done through a wide variety of ways, but the most common ways that this usually happens is through intercourse with some people, but as well cleanliness. And this is a very important topic that most people rarely talk about, cleanliness. Now, if you are very poor at maintaining cleanliness in your reproductive area, there is a likelihood that you might introduce these bacteria into your vagina, and this is gonna cause problems like this. One thing I have to say is if you find yourself having this problem, the first thing to do is go to hospital and try and explain your situation to your GP, and they'll probably recommend some medication, and that can resolve the problem. If you are interested on the cure, or what you can do, or remedies you can do to cope up with this problem and help eliminate it, then watch the video that is following this. I'll leave a link on the top. I'll leave a link on the first comment of this video. Check it out, and probably you might get assistance. As well, there is something I forgot to mention, and this is very important. When it comes to bacteria, we have a wide variety of bacteria. The most common ones that people know that cause a bad smell are chlamydia, which is a quite common bacteria. I think chlamydia is a bacteria, if I'm not wrong. Then we have other types of bacteria, including E. coli, Streptococcus species, etc. So there are a wide variety of bacteria. So sometimes it's very difficult for you to pinpoint a specific type of bacteria. Now, without forgetting, we have diseases like gonorrhea, which are caused by bacteria. The bacteria for gonorrhea is Neisseria gonorrheae. So this type of bacteria can also produce discharge, whites, the bad smell, etc. So the field of bacteria is quite wide. So if you are having this kind of problem, the likely culprit is a bacterial infection, and the bacterial infection might have been introduced through the 3 ways I've mentioned earlier on. So guys, thank you guys for watching this video. If you're new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button, enable the notifications, and let's meet in the next video.